Welcome back to Everyone Has a Story, True Tales from Everyday Life. I'm so glad you're here. This is the 6th in a 7-part series, 7 gifts, lessons if you will, to remember each day upon waking. In this season of giving, please accept this message of light and optimism. Happy holidays to you, from us. Be generous with your love and hugs, and always walk in balance. Let's talk about the 6th gift, that of action. Each night when we go to sleep, Creator places the stone of sleep on our eyes. When the sun rises the next morning, Creator lifts the stone from our eyes that we might live another day. This is an old Panji Sipe belief that my Made has always taught me. When we open our eyes the next day, we are given 7 gifts to take into our day. These are guideposts that show us the path forward, to fulfillment for that day, to peace of mind, and calm for the soul. Action. Choices bring you to actions, which bring you to learning and understanding. Take action, follow through, and you will be led to higher learning. This is the story of the Icy Log. Many years back, I lived in a lovely place in the middle of the then Cuyahoga Valley National Recreation Area, now a national park. There were trails of every difficulty level, and the CVNRA was my introduction to the joys of hiking. My initial forays with my hiking buddy were short, flat trails that could be accomplished in an hour or less. Then I began to venture onto longer, steeper, more challenging trails. Even one night hike where we were rewarded with a coyote serenade under the light of the full moon. In Ohio, people hike year-round. Except for blizzards and drenching rains, you can see people on the trails during just about any month. One day in the deep of winter, my hiking buddy and I decided we needed to get out for some fresh air. We'd been cooped up in a small apartment for too long, and the smell of the pines was calling to us. We went out to one of our favorite areas to explore a trail we'd not been on past a certain point. The map listed it as a relatively easy hike. The trail wove its way through some old farming land, a hemlock forest, and along a river gorge. We were bundled up in heavy jeans, coats, boots, etc. There was snow on the ground, so we decided an easy trail would be most prudent. We left the car and headed down the trailhead. Down we walked to the creek bed, per the map, and the trail literally disappeared into the creek, the fast-running creek. A line of stepping stones across the water were barely visible. They were clearly meant to be the path across the water, but they were mostly submerged. Snow had melted recently, and the creek was running deep and fast. Well, that was it for me. I was ready to about face and head up toward the parking lot. My hiking buddy had to call me back to the creekside. "Where are you going?" "Back to the car," I said. "If we can't cross the water, we can't do the trail. What am I missing?" No one ever accused me of being the most tactful person when I'm disappointed about something. "Well," he said, "we'll just cross the water. Look, there's a fallen log there. We'll use that to get across." Honestly, a feather could have knocked me over at that moment. Fallen log? No, ice-covered, slippery fallen log. It was then that we had the discussion about our next course of action. Do we give up and leave? Or do we attempt to cross the water? You already know what my choice was, but the hiking buddy was dead set on pressing onward. I'd never attempted such a thing. All I could think of was high school gym class where, as a plump teenager, I could barely scooch my way across a balance beam. It was 1998, and at 32, I was still quite plump, and just couldn't imagine myself scooching on ice over quickly running icy water. It seemed to be, well, stupid, reckless, nonsensical, insane, but he did have a way of making anything sound possible and even excitingly adventurous. So I stood on the bank watching how he did it, all 6'6" of him, with long arms and legs. He made it look perfectly doable, and not nearly as scary as my first impression. Before I knew it, he was on the other side, smiling and laughing and encouraging me to come over. So Onto the log I scrambled, my fat, short little heron legs, my family calls them with such irony, hanging off either side of a log that suddenly felt way thicker than it looked. I felt like I was splayed in two. And now I realized I had nothing, no thing to hold on to other than the damnable ice-covered log. Righto. I reached in front of me and down to the log, per the instructions shouted to me from the other side, and began the attempt to pull myself along, inch by inch. The seat of my jeans was already soaked from the melting ice. I moved as a sloth on a hot, humid jungle day. Except I wasn't in the jungle, and thankfully, I was right side up. Yet all the same, I was on an ice-covered log in an Ohio forest, praying to all the gods that were to please, please, please not let me fall into the rushing water below. It was touch and go, literally. For the 15 minutes or so it took me to actually get to the end of the log. At one point, there was a knot in the log over which I had to move without skewering myself. Eventually, I made it. But you knew that, right? I'm a pretty determined person once I get started on something. Persistent, they call me these days. Yes, I made it. My butt wet and cold, my boots soaked because I had to step in the water to get off the damn log. But I made it. Laughing, squealing, breathing hard. What a rush. I did it. And I didn't die. So on the hike we went. I never did really dry off until we got home. But the rush of that 15 minutes spent crossing that icy log has stayed with me all these years. I made the decision to stop agonizing and just take action. And that is precisely what led me to the conclusion of laughing, squealing, breathing hard. What a rush. I did it and I didn't die. Sure, I could have fallen in and been gravely injured or worse, but I didn't. I trusted the person with me, but most of all, I trusted myself to take that action. In a previous video, we discussed choices. We all make the best choices we can at the time. And usually it is to act in some way, to do something. All actions have a purpose and a positive intention. And through our actions, we begin to understand. We engage, and we practice, and we learn. So as the stone of sleep is lifted from your eyes for another day, accept the gift of action. Make your choices and then take action on them. What you do will bring you to the next step of your learning. How you act will determine your next choice and your next action, and so on. Nothing can stand in your way unless you choose to take no action. So keep on keeping on. Do you have a story about a time you took action? What was the outcome? Please share with us in the comment section below. Action is not always easy. How did you overcome and achieve? And consider subscribing with notification bell on if you enjoy content like this. A thumbs up sure would be appreciated as well. Thanks for visiting with us, and we hope to see you next time on Everyone Has a Story, True Tales from Everyday Life.